Minnesota Vikings have one of the best home field advantages in the NFL because A, they play in a giant Pyrex dish. B, they have the best fans in the NFL, so don't sleep on that. But with this being such a weird time because of the coronavirus, what if only a few or none of those best fans in the league are allowed to watch the Vikings play at historic US Bank Stadium on Chicago Avenue, by the way, which is still, oh my God. Can Jacob Frey and the stupid city council ever get anything right? Like, it's so stupid. I mean, just rename South 4th Street Curly Lambeau Way while you're at it. Just like, whatever. How will this affect the Vikings both at home and on the road early in the season? Let's talk about today, and then just complain about street names because it's so stupid. First, so the fan policy will have to be blanket league wide. Like, it would not be fair if you have full stadiums for the Bucks, if you have empty stadiums for the Jets, even though who's going to go watch the Jets in New Jersey anyway? Doesn't matter. So either way, no matter what the state's policy is, I think they have to apply that league wide. Otherwise, it will be a competitive advantage for teams that are allowed to have larger crowds at home. So that's out of the way. So far as of right now, I think for the first part of the season, I think stadiums will be empty and then incrementally work back crowds. Say 10% capacity, 20%, 40%, blah, blah, blah. Should be easy for the Chargers for the first couple of percentage, but it's okay. So not going to step on the the whole politics landmine thing, saying like, is this a smart thing to do? Is this whatever? Is it whatever? But I would say it would be moronic if teams are allowed to pipe in fake crowd noise, which the Falcons would be fine with. But I mean, how loud do you allow it? Like, how many decibels? Is it set on precedent of previous decibels? I was like, or is a rolling 3-year average of how many decibels your crowds have been the last couple of years? Or can it get louder on third down? Or can it be that loud the entire time? How about that loud when the other team's punting? Sure, why not? Will it be absolutely dead silent when the home team's on the field? Sure, I mean, that makes sense. And will it be a jet engine when the opposing team's on the field on offense? Yeah. No, that would sort of make sense. So it would be extremely arbitrary and gives absolute authority and power to the stadium soundboard guy, which, no, not down with that. So just let it be. For 1 year, empty crowds, sure, why not? But for the Vikings specifically, let's look at the home road splits during the Zimmer era. So Mike Zimmer wins 70% of his home games overall, which is pretty awesome, right? And is 480 on the road. Now, during the US Bank Stadium era, so 2016 on, the last 4 seasons, 727 at home. That includes a playoff game win, as well as 500 on the road, 17 and 1, which is quintessential Zimmer, right? So now the typical rule of thumb for sports handicapping is the home team being the home team is worth 3 points, right? So if both teams are even, the spread is going to be the home team will be favored by 3. So there you go. But some gambling outlets have noted that home field advantage with no crowds, it may be cut in half. So if the teams are even, home field is now worth 1.5 points. So it's kind of a big deal. That's a pretty big shift in the line. So now there still remains 1.5 point disadvantage for the road team, because even with no crowd, there still are the other road disadvantage. So travel, sometimes different time zones, so your body clock is messed up, as well as sometimes the opposing fan base poisons your pizza. Lots of things going on, lots of road shenanigans. So for our exercise, let's say that the empty stadiums for the first 5 weeks, and then say 10 to 25% capacity for the next 5. It really doesn't matter, but let's walk through here. So first 5 weeks, Vikings have 2 home games, Packers week 1, Titans week 3. I mean, both are tough games. I mean, no crowd noise for the hated Packers. That would be really odd, as well as I think it's a big advantage for the Packers because it's not a long distance travel for them. It's a very quick plane ride, as well as being able to operate with on the road in a hated stadium without those hated fans just booing the 40-year-old quarterback and the 12-year-old boy. I mean, that could be advantage Packers there. Titans won't be a slouch. I mean, AFC Championship game participants, Derrick Henry running over fools. It will be tough. But also, advantage for the Vikings, 3 games on the road. So at Indy week 2, the drum can get super loud. I think the Colts are back with Phillip Rivers, so empty stadium there could be advantage for the Vikings. At Texans week 4, very solid fan base, very passionate despite having a horrible GM/coach Bill O'Brien. But yeah, Deshaun Watson can do some things still with David Johnson. Oh boy. Oh boy. But yeah, it would be nice on third down Houston completely silent as JJ Watt is trying to get a little get off against Riley Reef, right? And then week 5, Seahawks Sunday Night Football. That's the big one, right? So if CenturyLink Field or wherever they call it nowadays is completely empty, I mean, if there's no crowd, I think Kirk and the Vikings should actually be favored in that game because on paper, the Vikings are better than the Seahawks minus Russell Wilson, respect. And then next 5 weeks, let's say 10 to 25% capacity. So some fans sprinkled in there. So it would be nice to have a little bit of fandom there for the Falcons, as well as limited capacity. I'm guessing that seats would be spread out. So it's not like 10% so 6,000 fans of the capacity for US Bank Stadium is going to be just down in the lower bowl. All along the first 4 rows. It's going to happen. So it's going to be all spread out. It would be very weird. I'm actually excited to see what the acoustics for that is going to be. But it would be nice to have some fans back for the Falcons. And then whatever at Green Bay. I mean, 10% capacity will be like the Packers in the 70s when they're just giving out tickets at Lambeau. But yeah. Lions at home. It's big. Division game. Always big. And then week 10 Monday Night Football at the Bears. Now, Soldier Field is a limited capacity, which it's going to be anyway because the Bears are going to be horse poop this year. That'd be big. So, honestly, if the Vikings can get through their 2 primetime games, I know I don't consider Christmas Day a primetime game, but their 2 primetime games at Seattle and then at Bears for Monday Night Football with no or limited crowds, I think that's big. I think that's a big advantage for the Vikings. So just the way that the schedule is splayed out, that they have a majority of their games on the road to begin the season, I actually think that's going to be relatively big for the Vikings going forward. So in this weird one-off season, no, I do not think this is the new normal, but I think the Vikings do have a distinct advantage here, just the way the schedule broke down. But your thoughts? Limited to no home field capacity, fans? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Pull us up on the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skol, production value.